Welcome to 21st Sports. Week 2 of the NFL 2016 season is underway. Of course, start off that Thursday night game, but here on Sunday we got a bunch of games to talk about. Let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers at the Carolina Panthers. And this, of course, happened September 18, 2016. And what a friggin' blowout. The Niners did get on the board first, but the Panthers took the lead. And although the Niners would be able to take the lead back in the second quarter, once the Panthers got rolling, that was all she wrote, as they would soon be up by 3 scores after the third quarter. So it was just total domination by Carolina. Like I said, Phil Dawson put the Niners on the board first with a 29-yard field goal. Then Shaq Thompson ended up scoring on a fumble return for the Panthers to put their first points on the board. And then the Niners came right back with a 28-yard touchdown from Blaine Gabbert to Torrey Smith to take the lead back. And then finally, the Panthers' offense got on the board as their defense scored that first touchdown. But Cam Newton hit a wide open Greg Olsen as he put a lot of space between him and the defender. That's one fast tight end. Even though Olsen, man, he's getting up there too. He's been around. He's no spring chicken, but he certainly burnt the defense for 78 yards on that touchdown. And that gave the Panthers their second lead of the game, a lead that they would not relinquish. Graham Gano added a 39-yard field goal that made it 17-10 at halftime. And then a pair of touchdowns in the third, with the connection of Cam Newton to Kelvin Benjamin, a 9-yard touchdown pass and a 10-yard before that, and it would be 31-10. So 2 touchdowns in the third. Then in the fourth, the Niners, they didn't give up, they didn't lay down. They scored 10 points in the fourth to make it an 11-point game. The 39-yard field goal from Dawson, then Gabbert was able to get it in on a 1-yard touchdown run to make it 31-20. But then the Panthers added a field goal by Gano, a 31-yarder. And then Gabbert, he threw a deep touchdown of his own, a 75-yard touchdown to Vance McDonald. And now it was a 7-point game with still half of the fourth quarter left to play, about 8 minutes, just under 8 minutes left to play. But the Panthers, like I said, they were in total control once they had gotten that lead. And although the Niners did claw back into it to make it a little bit interesting, then the Panthers just went on to score 3 more scores, 2 field goals, sandwiching a touchdown in between them. It was a 49-yard field goal by Gano and a 16-yard touchdown pass from Cam Newton to Devin Funchess, and then a 41-yard field goal by Gano with about a minute left in the game. And so that made it 46-27. As this one was really not as close as it seemed when it went back to a 1-score game. It was really just all Carolina, and this one they just totally dominated. Although you got to give the Niners some credit that they didn't quit. They kept on fighting. They played the whole game, even though it was out of reach. They made it kind of interesting there in the fourth, but they just weren't able to overcome that lead once the Niners fell behind by 3 scores, even though, like I said, they got within 1. But the Panthers just totally dominating. Cam Newton had a huge day, as he was 24 for 40, 353 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. And then Whitaker, 16 carries for 100 yards, as he was tearing it up. Cam also had 6 carries for 37 yards. Greg Olsen, 5 receptions for 122 yards, including that 78-yard touchdown. And Kelvin Benjamin, 7 catches for 108 yards, including 2 touchdowns. Of course, Funchess had that other touchdown. Ted Ginn also had 2 catches for 51 yards. And Whitaker had 3 catches for 31 yards to go along with his 100 yards rushing to give him 131 total yards on the game. And of course, Graham Gano, he was the scapegoat, I guess you could say, last week, but I thought that was unfair. And right here, you see Gano having the type of day that you expect, and that's perfection. The guy is about as close to perfect as it gets. In this game, he was perfect. On the field goals, he did miss the 1 extra point, but 4 for 4 on the field goals. 4 for 5 on the extra points for Graham Gano, as he had quite the day there, kicking and scored 13 points. Well, actually, no, not 13 points. What am I saying? He scored 16 points altogether. So then we look at the defense. Kuechly had an interception, as well as Bradbury. Then we had some sacks too. Addison and Lutulele had a sack as well, and also a forced fumble by Johnson. Then you look at the first downs, 26-16 in favor of the Panthers. And on third downs, the Panthers 7 of 15, 46%. And the Niners just 4 of 14, only 28%. They also went for it once on fourth, did not convert. Then total net yards, 529 for Carolina, just 302 for San Fran. And then we look down and we see the penalties in this game. There was actually more penalties against the Panthers, didn't matter. 8 penalties, 65 penalty yards, 6 penalties against the Niners for 50 yards. A lot of fumbles, 4 fumbles between the two teams, 3 fumbles on the Panthers side, just 1 for the Niners. And even so, even with those turnovers and the penalties, the Panthers just could not be stopped. Especially, they were doing pretty good in the red zone, 3 for 5, 60%. But they're shutting down the Niners in the red zone, just 1 for 3, 33%. You look at the time of possession, 35 minutes, 54 seconds for Carolina, just 24 minutes and 6 seconds for San Francisco. So it started off tight early on, but that defense of Carolina really got after the Niners, put the pressure on, and then Cam Newton just having a big day, 4 touchdowns, just lighting up the Niners defense. As it was a rough one for San Fran, but Carolina, they're back to their form. They almost won last week. It was about as close as it gets. And right here, they get into the win column for the first time this season, the first of what should be many wins for the Panthers. So let me know what you think, though, in the comment section below. Which plays and performances stuck out to you? Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and had a great weekend. And enjoy all the sports.